promptly at 6 p.m., she announces the close of the poll. Yeah? Good. Having announced that, she will proceed to arrange the polling station to do the count. All right? Great. She would establish that she is going to call out the votes, and her deputy will tally the votes. Yeah? She will invite the polling agents to sit so that they can see. And it is in their interest, if where they are seated, to tell the presiding officer, I cannot see well. I cannot see what's happening well. So she needs to rearrange you, put you where you can see. That's important for polling agents, huh? Yeah. So the count takes place. First of all, we speak about the spoiled ballot. A spoiled ballot can be anything as when the elector chose the wrong candidate and decides they want a new ballot. All right? So you replace that ballot. You, presiding officer, when I say you, presiding officer will ask the elector whether she's clear on what she has to do. Yeah, okay. She goes back to the booth with a fresh ballot paper, marks again. Should she indicate one more time that she has spoiled that ballot again, the presiding officer must let that person know that she will be issued another, but would be the last one. Yeah? So an elector more or less is entitled to 3 ballot papers. Good. You would only get a spoiled ballot during the day. Remember that? We have a destroyed ballot. That too will be won during the day. And we destroy the ballot when the elector refuses to make an affirmation. The elector refuses to immerse the finger into the ink. Yeah? The ballot will be destroyed, the poll card will be destroyed. That ballot, the point I want to make is that a destroyed ballot will not be replaced. All right? That's the difference between the spoiled and the destroyed. You replace the spoiled, but the destroyed one will not be replaced. A suspect ballot. A suspect ballot, we dealt with it yesterday, where the officer in charge of the ballot box looks at the ballot paper in the elector's hand and sees that, in his mind, that something is folded in the ballot. So the officer would ask him if there's anything in the folded there. He may say no. He would then be asked to go back to the voting booth, refold the ballot as instructed by the deputy presiding officer. At that point, the PO must be alerted. Yeah? PO must be, you must know what's happening in your station. Yeah? So he refolds, comes back out, and with that touch that was done by the officer in charge of the ballot box, presiding officer will also examine by touch. All right? If the presiding officer still thinks that there's something in there, he or she will tell the elector, well, I cannot allow you to insert that ballot into the box. However, it will be placed in an envelope and be counted at the end of the day. Yeah? Right. Should that elector refuse to have that ballot paper placed in the envelope, or destroyed ballots, of course, that is when it is going to be destroyed. Yeah? Poll card will also be destroyed. Remember that the consecutive number that you gave that person will be reassigned. Okay? Good. So far for destroyed. Well, as I said, a destroyed would not be replaced. Persons who refuse to remove the finger don't come back to the station. They will not be allowed to re-enter the polling station. So we move on to from suspect and destroyed, and we go to, how much we have again? Rejected. Yeah? A rejected ballot. The only time you will get a rejected ballot is during the count. Yeah? That's the only time you're going to get a rejected ballot, during the count. When do you reject a ballot? Nightingale. One of the new ones. All right. Rejected. And we all talking ballots, right? I put ballots here. By the time I finish, you are growing. One, when you open the ballot paper, remember, presiding officers, you are the ones who are going to be opening the ballot paper. Give me a ballot paper there. Right. And you're going to be calling out the votes. All right? Right. So let me kind of draw one here for you. All right. What are we going now? This is the area. And this is the area here. Are we doing 3, right? Right, so. What's your name? Three of them fellas. Babula? I ain't seen good girl. If I using this ballot paper, better use all the names. It look a little better. I feel they wanted to put a Rampersad here. Krishna. Ronson. Emmanuel. And I can't draw too good. So something is a car, so you could draw. Come now, man. All right, this is supposed to be a car. And something so, right? And one is a box. The box looking bad. Hey, box looking bad. All right. So, is that 3? Yeah, looking good? Yeah, 3, man. And what about here? All right. 1 circle, 2 circle, 3 circle. Right? Those are the symbols of the candidates. Right? Good. So, when you are establishing the candidate for whom the vote was given, you know you have to use your tally sheet. But the elector going into the booth has to mark for a candidate. Yeah? We say that you must put the X in the space provided, which is here. Right? Good? Right hand, side. Always on the right. Is that? Because you're right to put it on the right. So, good ballot. Right? Yeah. But if the elector goes into the polling station, my piece of paper. Is it? Right, good. Goes into the polling station and looks at all the names on the ballot paper and say Conrad and no Conrad, but Conrad doesn't do nothing in the area, nothing. I like Krishna, you know. I like Krishna, but I don't trust him. Right? Manuel, he now come on the scene. Manuel now come on the scene. Ocean, right? He is something else. So here it is. In the elector's mind, he has voted for nobody. And he has marked a big X on the ballot paper. That in itself is a good ballot. A good ballot where the X intersects here, right here, between the two horizontal lines, it becomes a good ballot. Yeah? But you watch all of them and you say, see all of them, and you put a big X. But that is not his problem at the end of the day. All right. Right. However, if the elector goes into the booth, looks at all of the names there, and decide I'm marking for none of them, fold the ballot paper, walks to the officer in charge of the ballot box, and insert such a ballot. So we have one, the ballot was not marked for any candidate. This is a rejected ballot. So presiding officers, you open a ballot paper, no markings, rejected. Yeah? Good. If the elector goes into the polling station, looks at the name, oh yes, I like Conrad, I put an X there for Conrad, but I like Krishna. I like Krishna. He's a good boy, a good fella. And you put one for Krishna too. So you like them fellas. Right? You like those guys. So put 2X. Such a ballot is a rejected ballot. Means that the elector couldn't make up the mind who he really want to represent him. Right. Okay. Elector, and elector again goes into the booth. He marks for Conrad. And he finds, well, the X, you know, small. Too small, right? So you say, you know what? I put in more than one. That ballot, he can give 1,000,000 X in between Conrad. That is a good ballot. people, is a good ballot. So, as it would be, he likes Conrad so very much, so he decides to give him a lot of X, so that Conrad will be sure to call out Conrad. But if the election should make a mark, you want Conrad, somebody here want, may know you want, but he makes an X, cross the page, and where the line intersects, you cannot establish which candidate to give such a ballot. You'll have to reject it. Okay. So far, so good. So, yesterday, we spoke about the elector using the X stamp, right? We asked, electors must be more or less be persuaded to use the X stamp. Yeah? Because this elector who would go into the booth and use his pen, all right? Although you may tell him it's only an X, because he would have gotten that instruction at the table of the deputy presiding officer, he puts an X. No big deal, I put an X. But it's me Versil. It's me there. I put an X. But he has put an identifying mark. And that will be a rejected ballot. Yeah? If the elector goes into that voting booth, again, using the pencil, you say, I tired with this X thing, I put in a circle. That is identifying. Right? Look at it. I want to bring things all in because you know how you have your question and thing. Yeah. You are counting the votes. Right? And you did not reject that vote, right? Because it's only a mark there. But it's not only a mark. The mark that he or she should put on that ballot is an X. Yeah? And should there be a recount, they would say you're crazy. Because I can come out of the voting booth as the elector, right? And tell my friend, my candidate friend, Conrad, I vote for your boy. You're going to know him. You must know my ballot paper if you see it. I put a circle. So, bridge is secrecy. See it? Easy like that. Easy like that. Yes, they had. We are ready. Yeah, go ahead. Papa.
I was just showing her people handwriting. They tend to make X's different ways. So we know our X's are X, but a person using a pen, she will demonstrate on the board the kind of X's I have there, because that was brought up.
is the reason, the purpose why I just said, persuade these guys to use the X stamp. Because this pen, how about pen here? Can put you into a lot of problems. Right? Yeah. So we're talking here, it's fancy X. Eh? And? Yeah. As against the cross. Whew. All right. So this one, all right. Well, you're good enough. But this is what happens when you use the pen. You get all of these things. Huh? So you get this as well when you use the pen. What again? I guess these two, right? Yeah. While it should be determined for whom the candidate gets that ballot, most people will question it. Is it really an X the person intended to put? Yeah? Particularly this one. Particularly that one. Yeah? So, as a presiding officer, I would give it to Conrad Babula. Should it be questioned, I would use the red ink pen and put a Q at the back of that ballot paper. But ballot, no. Right? But in counting, I'd count it for Conrad. Because I would feel that the intention was clear. But because they use the pen, all right, when such a ballot is being counted and questioned, that ballot is put loosely at the top of all the ballots, or will be put loosely at the top of all the ballots that cast for Conrad Babula. And that is for in the event of a review. All good? Yeah. Right. So, anybody else have any strange ones that will come out? Is it? We want to go into our tally sheet. Starting with our tally sheet today. Today is close of the poll. That sheet has columns and blocks of 25. Columns and blocks of 25. You are required to write the candidate's name in a column. Be very careful when you look at the blocks. There are squares in the blocks, little squares, 25 squares per block. Are you following that? Clear enough? Good. When the votes are counted, you mark a probably a X, probably a stroke. in those little boxes. All right? Careful with the columns, those lines, because you can miss and go over to the next candidate, the column for the next candidate. It's easy. All right? So like this one that we have on the board, or in your, you see the thing, if I could do a little thing here. Grab the pen, the marker. Right. So let's say right. Right. So candidate, mark name of a candidate there. According to our ballot paper, Babula Conrad, and remember the commas makes it, you must put in the commas, eh? Right. Babula, comma, Conrad is his first name, and he has a second name with D, must be Dennis. For our purposes, we have on our ballot paper 4 persons. So we are writing one, just now, hold on, eh? 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. I want to give 2 columns to Conrad, according to our tally sheet here. All right? So we'll get the separation. All right? Because we say we want to exercise care. Ordinarily, I can't remember what the sheets look like. Do you have any others? All right. So I'm going to enter the next candidate's name. We skip in a column, Ocean, Francis, comma, Francis. Skip in a column, I go into Rampasa. Krishna. And the next person is Ronson, comma, Emmanuel. Good. When the votes are being counted, first of all, it is the presiding officer. We'll do this kit. The presiding officer is the one who is going to call out the votes. And the deputy presiding officer is the person who will be using the sheet, tally sheet. Official checking officer. Yeah? So when the vote is called out, Ronson, you put that little X here. And if you check right across in this box, you'll see it's 25. So you're going across 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then the 6th one, you go back to where the 10th is, right? And you'll get 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and then you come under, you see 15, and then you go across. All right? And so too, when you start counting and you start getting votes for Ocean, you start and you from left to right. Okay? 5 little squares. At the end of the day, should you have 3 columns filled up for Babua? Simple. 25, 25, 25. Easy count, 75. 75 votes. Yeah? That's how you treat with the tally sheet. One of the first things you are required to do is put the electoral district. So if you're in Port of Spain South, you're going to put Port of Spain South on top here. Right? Polling station. Polling station number 0100. Polling station number. The next thing you need to enter there is the number of ballot papers you receive from the returning officer. Okay? So you put the amount here. All right? 100. So that is the amount of ballot papers that you got from the returning officer. Having examined the ballots, tallied the votes, you will write the candidate's name as they appear on the ballot paper. So earlier we had Babula, right? Conrad, right? On your ballot paper, his name is spelled out. Right? Do not abbreviate the name. There's one abbreviation there, and it is on the ballot paper, so you can afford to put it on the statement of the poll. Good? But you are not to write Babula CD. Wrong. Good. So that's one of the first things. Do not abbreviate. Then you'll put the amount of votes that he got. All right? Great. The amount of rejected ballots that you would get, you enter that. Hopefully none. But there's one I have now. Total number of ballots that you found in the box, you put that number. It must be about 50. Any suspect? You had a suspect, right? But remember, you would have counted that, right? For somebody, right? So I still had to put 1. Any destroyed? You could put that 2. How much spoiled? 2 spoiled. And number of unused ballots, those and those undetached, put that there as well. So you might get about 10. For our purposes, now you have no special ballot. Special ballots will be dealt with those persons who will be receiving a special ballot box. All right? The poll cards, you will count. And the number of names on your official list. The names of the list often differ. It differs a lot. We gave you a list with 125 names. And what is recorded here is 130. I don't know for what reason. It is always off. Even if you have to add names to the list, right? Right? That must be indicated. Number of names of the list will be, how much I give you? 125. In your diary, you would say that you added the name to the bottom of the list. And that is very rare. But there's a big disparity at times for the number of names on your list that we gave you and what is recorded on the statement of the poll. Yeah. Poll card will always equal to the number of ballot papers. In your instance, because you are not treating with special ballots. The only time your ballot will be more than your poll card is when you receive special ballots. That is the only instance. Otherwise, your poll card and your ballot should be equal. Yeah? Come down here. Dated at this something day of, right, do you know that? Dated at. Dated at cannot be Monday. Dated at cannot be 6:05. Dated at where you are. Right? This is where, you know. This is where. So, you are in Southeast Secondary School on whatever, what's your name? Somewhere in Borders Bean. George Street? Right. So you put in that to be more precise. George Street. It's amazing, amazing that people would give you a statement of the poll and put dated at 6:05. Gosh. Today is what date? 17th? This 17th day of June 2020. If for some reason the amount of votes tallied for Babula is different, you draw a line. Good? And you put the correct one with your initials. Yeah? Do not give me this. Make the 1 into a 2. All right? Draw a line, put the correct thing, and initial it. In every instance where there's numbers, figures. All right? So that's how you're going to complete. Another thing is, you sign in. What is that? Who is that? I don't know. Right. So, all right. Presiding officer. I know if I have a place for that. Yeah. Right. Presiding officer. Okay? Latoya, poll clerk. Latoya, what is the surname here? Latoya Stowe, one of the poll clerks. Which one? Red one or green one? Green one, right? So you put GL, and you put that in bracket first. Right? And so you do with the red line as well. Candidates. They will scribble All right? Put in bracket, PPP, as the case may be. Station has been arranged for the count. The presiding officer enters on a statement of the poll in the diary, polling station diary, the number of spoiled ballots, the number of unused ballot paper, the number of destroyed ballot papers, and she's taken the number of votes cast at the station as reflected on the stub of the ballot paper used at the station. Good. The presiding officer would now record the suspect ballot. She will remove the suspect ballot from the envelope and insert it into the ballot box. From there, she'll begin to count. Mix it up, mix it up. All right, good. She now proceeds to open the box, the ballot box. She would then empty the ballot from the box onto the table. She shows the box empty. She closes the box, puts the box on her side, she then proceeds to count the ballots. She's actually looking for the initials of the DPO to ensure that all the ballots were in fact. So she's examining the ballot papers to ensure that the initials of the DPO and the correct polling station number is on those ballots. So she's, at the same time, she's making a quick count of how many ballots was in the box. And yeah, how many ballots were in that box? In that box. All right now. All right. Good. So she has established how many ballots she found in that box. The presiding officer will now complete the envelope, inserting the number of ballots in each of the envelope for the respective candidates. She will insert the ballots into the envelope. She will then proceed to enter the votes on her polling station diary, statement of the poll. The presiding officer then counts the poll cards and enters the amount on the statement of the poll. The figures haven't been endorsed by the DPO and agents. She now signs the statement of the poll and invites the deputy presiding officer, polling agents, and any other member of staff who wishes to append their signature. The presiding officer then proceed to make copies of that statement of the poll from her polling station diary. A copy is prepared for the returning officer, a copy for the chief election officer. She provides the agents with a copy. She gives one to her deputy, retains one. So, at the end of the day, you need to pack things up for return to the returning officer. You have to take them back from where you got them. Yeah? So, you want to know what to put in the ballot box, what to put in the poll card box, what to put in the carrying case, and what to take into the returning officer by hand. Yeah? Good. So, your ballot box. Envelopes E10 containing candidates' ballots, right? Envelope with spoiled ballots, 11. Envelope with rejected ballots, which you would get during the count. Suspect ballot, if there's any. But remember, the suspect ballot that you would have in the envelope, when you're counting, you're going to take it out of the envelope, that is the ballot paper, and insert it into the box with the rest of ballots. Yeah? But you'll still have your envelope there marked, right? Destroyed, you'll have your ballot for destroyed. The stubs and unused ballots, envelope for that, and your polling station diary with all certificates signed. With all certificates signed. And let me tell you something. Your diary, you must start working with your diary or on your diary from the cover of the diary. Yeah? Presiding officers ought to know that you need to put on the cover outside cover, that, let me make it a little clear, outside cover, you have your polling station number, you have the address, yeah, the election date. These are things that must be completed, so that when we look at your diary, we say, yes, it is a completed diary. Yeah? Good. So, in your box, all things that relate to ballot, all types of ballots, anything that relates to ballot, suspect, destroy, reject, right? Envelopes, those envelopes will go into the ballot box. And plus, I want to say again, the polling station diary. That's the only thing going in your ballot box. Good. What is difficult? When you read, you're good. What goes into the poll card box? I did a nice little thing, so you only have it. Open it and thing, man. Read. Poll card. Poll cards used by person who voted. Poll cards of persons who refused to vote. Your A120. The revised list of electors used by the officer in charge of the ballot box and poll card box, right? Yeah, man. The revised list of electors used by the two poll clerks, red and green line. Affirmations and declarations made by the red and green line. Letters of appointment done by polling agents and poll day staff. Right? Any other small item may go there. Now your notices and signs should be taken down the polling station. And of course, you would have taken them there, nicely rolled and so on. Take them down and roll them again. Yeah? Take it back to the returning officer. So you have your poll card box and you have your ballot box. Now we go on to you have a list of electors that you will hang outside for the electors to view. You could put that in your carrying case. That's okay. Once you don't have enough space in your box, you can put it in the carrying case. It's not marked for anybody. It's not, yeah? Okay. So what you're carrying to the returning officer by hand your ballot box, locked, the keys in the envelope. Right? Remember, locking your ballot box. When you return in, you must seal your ballot box. When you lock, you seal. The A45, I think it is, yes? Yeah. Are the seals that will be provided. And let me show you how to seal this ballot box. Am I sealed it? Seal? You don't have no seal? We don't have real, oh, good, real seals. Real seals, real seals. Yeah, must something new. Right. At the end of the day, when you are sealing this ballot box, it means that you are endorsing whatever is in that ballot box. So you don't put blank seals, you sign. And it is nice to know that some of us with fancy signatures, you put some block letters, right? PO at the end. So I will know that the PO endorsed the sealing of the box, right? Deputy, sign. Other polling agents ensure that you sign, all right? And other members of staff may also append their signature. When you're sealing, you seal the slot of the ballot box, like this. You seal the slot. Then you seal both sides. But when you're sealing both sides, it goes like this. All right? You seal like this, either sides of the box. Some of us like to put a seal by the lock, but hardly ever stays. But once you put them on the side, even if you unlock the box and you attempt to open the box, the seals will be broken. Huh? But they give you seals, use them. All right? Great. That's for the box. You do similarly to the poll card box. Slot on the sides. Right? Good. When you are, your envelopes need to be sealed as well. Your envelopes need to be sealed as well. When you put the ballots in the envelopes, and you take the glue and you glue down the envelope, that's not all. You have signed seals, as you have there on the ballot box, and you put your seal like this. Yeah? That's how you seal your envelope. Seal your envelope like this. Not this. Not this, people. Don't show that. Here. If I see anybody envelope, seal like this, I'm taking all it to task. Right, so you're sealing it like this. Okay? The proper way to seal it. How is it? Man, you have more seal. As long as you have more sealing, put one in the bottom too. Yeah? If you run out of seals, you make seals. Yeah, man. Okay. Yeah. So, you're going to have to take to the returning officer the keys for the ballot box, the key for the postcard box, the keys for the carrying case, personal accounts, your reference list. Remember that has personal information. Of course, the carrying case with the unit register. Where is that unit register? What are you doing quiet there? Anyway, we had to use that today with the thing, eh? The ink. We spoke about the ink with the Ziploc bag. We have a Ziploc bag here. And the bottle containing the ink as well as the receptacle for the ink. All right? You're taking it by hand to the returning officer. Of course, your sealed ballot and poll card box and your statement of the poll. There's an envelope for that. That is the results of the poll. You're taking that by hand to your returning officer and another to the chief election officer. Then 7 days later, right? You can put the statement together with the presiding officer's thing. Yeah? 7 days later, presiding officer's report. A poorly done document. Presiding officer's report. Very poorly done. The report is to have the EBC improve things. Yeah? In all aspects, whether in terms of its operations, whether in terms of its staff that we hire, 13,000, so, whatever. You know what I mean? Whether you need to tell us that, listen, the room that I had to operate in was not satisfactory, right? But then again, because you would have gone and visit that venue the day before, the Sunday or the Saturday, as the case may be, right? These things you should bring that to the Chief Elections Officer attention, especially if you're situated upstairs and these kinds of things, you know, water problems, you know, all of these things. And this time with COVID, hello, they must have water for you. They must have water for you. Presiding officer and her deputy is about to take the lock and sealed ballot box and poll card box to the returning officer, escorted by the police.